The first time Mary saw death, it sat on her mother's chest, pressing down with long black fingers. She was 9 at the time. It was just before dawn. The roosters hadn't started their noise yet and the house was cold. Mary had woken up suddenly for no reason. That's when she saw it. A tall, dark figure crouched over her mother's body. Its face looked like smoke. No eyes, no mouth, just a shape. She could hear breathing, but her mother didn't move. Mary tried to scream, but her throat was locked. Her tiny body froze on the mat. After what felt like forever, the figure turned its head toward her. It had no face, but she knew it looked at her. Then it disappeared, like wind passing through smoke. Her mother died the next day. Mary told her uncle what she saw. He laughed and called her childish. Her aunt slapped her for talking nonsense. The pastor said it was a dream, but Mary knew what she had seen. And that wasn't the last time. A few months later, she saw it again. This time, it stood at the edge of her grandmother's bed, tall and silent. Her grandmother died 3 days later. Mary stopped telling people. By the time she turned 12, she had seen death 5 times. It always came before someone died. No one else ever saw it. She started sleeping with the light on. When she was 14, it came for her father. She watched it sit in his chair, rocking slowly. He was still alive then, but he had started coughing blood. Mary begged him to go to the hospital. He laughed and said he was fine. He was dead before the week ended. Now everyone said her family was cursed. That death followed her, but she knew the truth. It didn't follow her. It showed itself to her. She didn't know why. She didn't ask for it, but it kept coming. The last time she saw it, it was standing in front of a mirror. She was 17. She walked into the sitting room and saw it staring, not at anyone, but at its own reflection. It didn't move. It didn't vanish. She turned to run, but her legs gave way and she hit the floor. They found her there, eyes wide open, whispering one thing over and over again. He's coming for me now. After the day when death stood before Mary and didn't disappear, Mary changed. She stopped being quiet. She no longer hid the things she saw. She told her aunts, uncle, and pastor again. This thing is real. He comes before people die. I see him every time. Her aunt rolled her eyes. This girl wants attention. Her uncle just muttered, God forbid. But Mary didn't care anymore. She spoke at school. She spoke in the markets. She even stood in front of the church after service and said, some of you here, he's following you already. People laughed, and a few avoided her. Then came the day she saw death outside the palace. It stood by the king's gate, its long fingers resting on the iron bars, its head tilted to the side like it was listening to something only it could hear. Mary panicked. She ran home, heart beating like a drum. But she knew what to do. She went to the palace. She waited by the gate. She begged to speak to the king. They pushed her away. They said, go home, girl. You can't just walk into the king's house. So she shouted, tell the king death is at his gate. Everyone stared at her like she's crazy. Some laughed. Some said she had run mad. 2 days later, the king died in his sleep. Suddenly, everything changed. The next morning, a crowd gathered outside Mary's house. Old women and men, rich men and women, mothers carrying babies, hunters, even the same palace guards who chased her away, were all gathered outside her house. They begged to speak with her. They asked questions such as, is it near me? Can you see anything behind me? Please check my daughter. I'll pay you anything. Just tell me if I'm safe. They brought money, yam, goats, necklaces, gold and silver. Mary was astonished. The girl who had been mocked now sat like a priestess. By evening, her compound was full. People left offerings on her doorstep. Some knelt before her. Mary became rich, but not in a happy way. She bought new clothes and renovated her father's house. Her uncle stopped shouting at her. Her aunt began calling her our gift from God. But death still visited her, and each time she ran as fast as her legs could carry her. But one day, she decided to face her fears and confront death. One night, it came again, but it didn't look at her. It walked past her, into her room. Mary stood in her room, facing the figure that had haunted her for years. This time, she didn't run. She didn't freeze, but spoke. She asked it why it kept following her, and why it wouldn't let her be. The figure didn't speak, but something heavy filled the room. It was a memory. A moment she had forgotten for so long began to rise like smoke in her mind. She was 9 years old. She remembered the mango tree behind their old house. She remembered climbing higher than usual. She remembered the snap of a weak branch and the sharp pain she felt as her body hit the ground. She had stopped breathing. Her mother screamed. Neighbors ran and someone poured water on her. She woke up hours later while they were preparing for her funeral, confused and broken. They said it was a miracle. The village pastor had called it grace. But now she understood. She was meant to die that day. Death had come for her, and somehow she slipped away. Since then, she had been living on borrowed time. Mary looked at the figure again and began to beg. She knelt down and cried. She asked to be freed and said she didn't know. She said it wasn't her fault. But death didn't leave. It didn't speak, but it listened. Then, it turned to leave. As it reached the doorway, it paused. And just like that, Mary heard it. Not with her ears, but inside her bones. A voice that didn't sound human. You have 1 week. And then it was gone. Mary collapsed on the floor. Her hands shook. She didn't sleep that night. She didn't eat the next day. But then, she started visiting churches, shrines, prophets and healers. She called on everyone who had ever said they knew the spirit world. She gave out money, sacrifices, fasts. She burned candles, bathed in rivers, and laid under the moon. She tried everything because she didn't want to die. Not now. Not when she had just started living. Not when people called her special, and not when she finally had a reason to be seen. But with each passing day, she felt it. It was getting closer. On the seventh day, the sky was grey. Mary hadn't slept in 2 days. Her eyes were swollen, her lips cracked. Her compound was empty. The crowds that once begged her for answers now kept their distance. Something about her had changed, and they felt it. Mary sat on the floor of her room, surrounded by burnt candles, broken calabashes, and empty prayer beads. Nothing had worked. No pastor could save her. No river could cleanse her. No shrine could bribe what was already old. She had done everything and given everything. But death was still coming. She stepped outside, barefoot, into the cold morning. She walked to the mango tree. The same one from all those years ago. The same one that betrayed her bones but spared her breath. She touched its bark. It felt like skin, alive, like it remembered. A single rotten mango hung above her head, swinging gently. The world felt still. Even the wind had gone silent. Then she felt it behind her. It was not walking this time. It was already there. Its presence, like night, falling. She turned, and this time she didn't speak. Neither did she run. She simply stared into the nothing where death stood. Mary began to cry, not out of fear, but out of something deeper. Something like regret. She wanted more time. She wanted to live without fear, without chasing power, without trying to cheat the natural order. She whispered a prayer, not for life, but for peace. And then everything went dark. The next morning, they found her under the mango tree, lying on her side like a child asleep. Her eyes were closed. Her hands were folded across her chest. There was no wound, no sign of struggle, no sound the night before. Only silence.